What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Thor Meter podcast. I'm your host, Sock from Detailing Made Simple, and today we are continuing our Rinseless Wash tier list. And nothing better for me to start off with Labocosmetica's Idrosave. This is their pH neutral rinseless wash. They do have their alkaline and acidic rinseless wash, but that is for a separate time and most likely won't be part of this list. The only reason for this is because I'm pretty much comparing pH neutral rinseless washes versus say these are the only two alkaline and acidic rinseless washes that I know of today in the market. So Idrosave. I am only doing just this one. I am not doing a head-to-head battle, and the only reason for that is because this is a heavy polymer rinseless and it has some stout protection. This is something that I've used for a little close to 2 years already, especially in New York, where my customers would come in for a wash, and especially winter months, I would use the Preludio and then also finish this off with Idrosave, and this has some protection. It gives a nice gloss, slickness, and of course water beading. And since it has very stout protection, it's not fair to go up against, say, DIY or Nemesis or Yum, stuff like that, or Garage Therapy, because those are hybrids, and sometimes those hybrids, or most of the time, the surfactants really do clean a bit better than polymer. So I'm still going to rank this, but you'll see where I will put this based on preference, what you should be looking for, and why I did it the way I did. So in terms of Idrosave, how much of this do I have left? In terms of this, I have it up to here, and I typically always fill my Idrosave bottle from the gallon, and this is what I have. The gallon I have about here, less than half, and this is a 4.5 liters. So hopefully you heard that shake, and let's get to the actual video. So in terms of rinseless wash, it says directions for use: prepare a bucket with a grid guard. So that's what I already have. I have 10 liters of water in here, and it says dilute the product at a ratio of 1 to 200, or 3 caps of this. 3 caps and 6 liters of water. I have 10 liters of water here right next to me, so that will mean I will put 5 caps instead of 6, because it looks like 1 cap is for every 2 liters. So that's it, and then directly into the bucket, and then that's it. They recommend you to use a soft microfiber glove, or you could use a sponge in the bucket, which I am using this one, and I will tell you why I'm using the McKee's sponge, because I don't want to ruin my other rinseless sponge, because I do have a second one coming in, which will be in 2 separate buckets, and it'll be easier to compare that way. So and then if you want to use this as a quick detail spray, for a detail spray, use it at a 1 to 50 dilution ratio. So here I already have my distilled water all set up, pretty much close to the 1 to 50 dilution mark, and all I'm gonna do is put 1 cap full of Idrosave, and this will be our detail spray. And that is something that I give up, and I'll just fill it up to the max line. I don't need to worry too much of anything else. And there it is, max line. So I don't need to worry about anything else with this afterwards, because this will be my detail spray. And this is something that other rinseless washes like surfactants and hybrid rinseless wash, I wouldn't really use this as a quick detail spray. This is something that's nice if you want to add a quick detail spray for protection at a cheap cost. Now in terms of smell, it smells like a nice tropical fruity scent. I really enjoy the smell of Idrosave. So let's get this going. So I'm going to shake this up and bring you in all close for the bucket. As you see, pretty much close to 10 liters of water, probably a little bit less than that. I'm not going to be too worried about it. I'm still going to put 5 capfuls in here, and I am going to put, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Rinse that up just like so. Put that over to the side. Grab your rinseless wash sponge. Let that soak in. Squeeze it out. Keep mixing that up. And I know it's foaming in here, and the only reason why it foams is because the aeration on these McKee's Rinseless Wash Sponge are not really my favorite. They make anything pretty much foam. So if I grab a surfactant rinseless wash, it'll make it look like as if I have soap in the bucket. So let me grab my sprayer and where to dunk this. This is a clean sprayer. Grab as much water as you can from here. This is the perfect dilution ratio. Add your pre-spray, and we are good to go. So clean double flip here. This is from Auto Fiber. I'm putting this inside my rinseless wash bucket, so that way we can see how it feels with a microfiber wash mitt and a or wash towel, and of course the sponge. And here I have Idrosave all pumped up, and I am going to spray this. This is dirt that you can physically see. Of course, I will bring you guys lower to the rocker panels. I did the wheels and tires off screen, so you don't all have to worry about that part. So objectively, does it remove the dirt from the windshield? And yes, it does. With the pressure of the IK sprayer, yes, it does remove the dirt, dust, and debris. It does encapsulate a little bit of it, and we are going to do half the rear. That is what I'm going to do here, and spray that down there. So we're just going to let that sit there for a bit, and time to grab the wash media. So, and there is where I got the double flip and the sponge, and lift you all up. I got my drying towel up there, and we are going to objectively see how much dirt and grime we are able to remove, or how much it was removed with the initial spray. So as you can see with the initial spray, yes, it encapsulated the dirt and stuff from the window and brought it down. Yes, I do have a ceramic coated vehicle, and this rinseless wash feels super slick. It just light years away slick. But this is because it has protection, right? Sponge now is starting to get dirty just on the edges, but for demonstration purposes, I am going to grab as much dirt and grime as possible, especially down here on the lower. And see how well does this remove the wash media or the grime from the sponge. So as you can see, pretty much right away it is stained. I'm going down to the grit guard. I'm gonna scrub this out. Let me lift all of you up so we can do the rest of the panels. And that is the issue that I have with polymer rinseless, is that they traditionally easily stain your wash media. And look at that, just like that. So that is the downside with Idrosave, which I give that a thumbs down. Yes, it removes the dirt and grime, but in terms of the stain on your towel or your wash mitt or your wash media, it stains it, and that is just the crappy side. Now in terms of slickness, yes, this is a really slick rinseless wash, and that is because it has protection. But that is what you got here, and it is time for the dry off. And what do I think? Dries like butter. In terms of streaking on glass, does it streak? Gonna all bring you in close. It has bit of wetting agents on there, but with the protection, it does slightly streak because this is a stout rinseless wash. This is one of those rinseless wash that you really have to dial down and take a look. But the way, wow, the paint feels and the glass, it is just so slick. You do not need a drying aid. That is not needed for this rinseless wash. Does it clean the panel? Absolutely. Is it super slick? Yes, it is. Extremely slick. So I'm going to continue around and we'll talk about the results afterwards. And all right, everyone. So hopefully you all enjoyed this video, and pretty much what I will put here is the overhead of me doing the other half of the vehicle, so all of you don't get bored of, you know, just me talking about as I rank this. So I will talk about the pros and cons about Idrosave. And first, let's start off with the cons. So con number one is you will stain your wash media. So this is a rinseless wash sponge. Obviously this is a before one, and this is how it came out after the first wash. And this is just on the body of the paint. As you saw me just grab stuff on the body of the paint, and this is what I ended up with, some staining. Same thing with my double flip towel right here. So that is something to expect with this rinseless wash. And this is why typically most polymer rinseless washes will stain your wash media. So that is con number one. Con number two is this is one of the very few rinseless washes I highly recommend not to use in direct sunlight. And if you are, really do it panel by panel, because if you don't, you will get some streaking, you will get some staining, because it does have some very, very stout polymer nano sealant protection on there. And that is something that Reggie explained over 2 years ago, or close to 2 years ago, when the release of this, people were getting some staining, some water spotting, and all this other stuff. And that is because the chemists in Labocosmetica, for some reason, the one that Eddie tested really wasn't the full final version from, you know, I'm just paraphrasing here, don't quote me, but if I remember correctly, it was more of, it wasn't really the final one that Eddie was using. And then when the final one came out, they added a different polymer, which is much stouter, much stronger. And then of course, what ended up happening is a stronger protection, less, it will give you more staining, and that is pretty much it. Now, in terms of it encapsulating, yes, it does encapsulate the heavy grit, dirt, and grime, as you saw on the windshield, how everything was pretty much dragged down, rinsed off. And then same thing when your wash bucket, the heavy dirt, grit, and grime does get pulled down to the bottom, but in terms of the staining, it will remain. So that is con number two, is pretty much don't use in direct sunlight. And then you could add con number three is the streaking part, right? So you can get some potential streaking. So definitely wipe off with your first dry towel as a squeegee towel, and then buff off with a second towel, just to make sure you get any of those streaks, because once those streaks are there, they're pretty annoying to remove. And that is why this rinseless wash, you're supposed to use it with their alkaline and acidic soap, because once you're done with the second step or the first step, whichever step you want to finish off with, then guess what? This will be on, or Preludio acidic will be on the paint, for example, and then you just put this on it. That will help highly dilute the polymer protection that's on there, and it won't be as strong. But if you're using this as a standalone, it is pretty strong. So yeah, so that is that. Now slickness, where do I put slickness at? So slickness, I give this a 9 out of 10. This is, to me, definitely slicker than Yum and Nemesis. But again, Yum is 100% pure surfactant, and Nemesis is 50-50, and it doesn't stain your wash media, right? It is a hybrid. It is more still surfactant, but they just added a bit more polymer. So that is something with that. This is pure polymer, and that is the con, right? It has nano sealant protection, so of course it should feel slicker, ideally. So, and it does feel slicker objectively. So 9 out of 10 for that, maybe 9.5 out of 10. And as I said, encapsulation, yes, it doesn't still encapsulate. Drying aid, 10 out of 10. You can just do your rinseless wash and just dry off the car with this on the paint. You don't need any specific drying aid to help aid in extra slickness or extra gloss. You don't need that, because this already has some nano sealant protection. So 10 out of 10 for sure. Give that up there. As a quick detailer, I do give this a 10 out of 10. Now, some of my customers that have just come for, say, an express polish, something like that, and had a ceramic sealant on it, they will typically use this same dilution, 1:50, and this is some stout stuff. Some of them has even claimed to get, some of my customers claim to get 2 to 3 weeks, and they're not affiliated with any of this stuff. This is just something that I just said, hey, if you want something dilutable that will last you years and you don't have to buy a spray bottle every single time, then just get this, and you have close to infinite amount of quick detail spray with protection, and you get the water beading and stuff like that, and it does last a while. Very nice tight beads for sure. So I give that a 10 out of 10. And last but not least, let's talk about cost. So in terms of cost, 1 liter of this, which is pretty much roughly about 32 ounces of product, is $26.95 on the House of Rags of data recording of December 2025. And for 4.5, which is this bad boy right here, is $62.95, or let's just say $63, and it's pretty much roughly, you got a gallon and a liter, equivalent of say a US gallon and 1 liter of product, and that is for $62 or $63. That is very nice price point for it. And yeah, so that is where I see the pros on this. Now, where would I rank Idrosave? And I will highly put this in a B tier. Rinseless, maybe a C. We'll probably see how things go on with or other rinseless washes play out. But as of right now, it is a B tier. And the only reason it could go down, but we will see what the other rinseless washes on the House of Rags. And the reason for it is stains your wash media. Can't use in direct sunlight, so you really got to play your cards right when you want to use this. So if you want to use this Idrosave early in the morning or late at night, and definitely wipe off correctly, because if you leave any streaks, it does have some stout polymer protection and you will leave some streaking on there. So that is the reason why I put it on B tier. Maybe it could go on C tier just because of me just saying that. But in terms of slickness and everything else, I'll keep it on B tier, because quick detail spray, phenomenal. Slickness is freaking amazing. Drying aid is, it does the job. Just, if you're gonna use this as a standalone, I don't recommend it. Especially if you're doing this as a weekly washes. And if you do want to use this as a weekly wash, then grab, say, rinseless wash sponge that's a darker color if you're not too worried about the staining part. Now, do I recommend Idrosave? Yes, I actually do. And if I recommend it to people, just get it in this 1 liter if you are a DIYer. The reason for that is because you can make an infinite amount of quality detail spray right up in here. Just make sure you use distilled water. The smell smells amazing. That's another pro as well. So definitely a B tier product for now. And yeah, so that is all I have. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And also, if you want to save 15% off on your House of Rags order, use code DMS at checkout. And yeah, so we will continue the rest of the tier list of Rinseless Wash. And I will see you all on the next one. Peace.